Hey, hello there. Very good evening, everyone. I'm Shrikant Acharya. I'm the CEO at offineeds.com and welcome to Employee Engagement Live. I'm Shrikant at Offineeds. Offineeds is a leading corporate gifting and merchandise company based in Bengaluru, Chennai, and Hyderabad. And this is an initiative by Offineeds. It's called Employee Engagement Live. What we do in Employee Engagement Live is I try to get over people who are experienced, seasoned professionals, mostly from HR and corporate communications domains, and who got a reasonable amount of experience building teams, growing teams, and enhancing employee engagement and employee experience, focusing on productivity and so on. So I've been able to get in the past. Corporate communication professionals, HR managers, and authors who are talking about people management, skill development, and so on. So why this is important and why this topic is very close to my heart is because for the last 16 years I've been running a corporate gifting business, and I've had the opportunity to work with several medium to large size organizations. And in the last few years, I've seen that employee engagement has become a very important, very crucial topic, but it's become even more challenging with the new work from home situation. Well, you cannot call the work from home situation new anymore. It's become a routine. It's been more than 1.5 years since we've all gotten used to working from home, but employee engagement has become that much more challenging with the pandemic, with remote working, with working from home. Because earlier it was just a matter of walking across the aisle and patting on somebody's shoulder and speaking to them, but now you need to book a calendar for pretty much anything that you need to do. With that, you lose a tempo of what's going on. You don't get a grip on the mood of the office, and with that, employee engagement has become so much more challenging. And talk about hiring new employees and onboarding new employees remotely. Getting employees into your team who've never seen you, who've never come to your office, who've never seen the campus, who've not met any of the colleagues, that is a brand new challenge altogether. So that's why I decided to do Employee Engagement Live, where I get in seasoned, experienced professionals and ask them questions about employee engagement. Today is going to be super interesting. I have with me today somebody who's got about 12 years of experience in the HR space. She started her career in HR in 2009 as an HR executive in Prodot Technologies. Then she worked with Seven Seas Global, then with Infinity Retail, which is basically Chroma, then with PVR, then with Ayuja and Pulse Secure, and so on. She's got amazing amount of HR experience across healthcare, BPO, freight forwarding, retail, and IT. Her core competencies include business partnering, employee experience, HR operations, HR transitioning, and counseling and mentoring. And also, before I forget, I want to tell you that she's a published author. She's the author of this book. It's called My Journey to Love and Peace. So, without any further ado, let me welcome Nimisha Kunat Chatterjee. Nimisha, welcome to Employee Engagement Live. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you for the warm welcome and the kind words. That was a fantastic introduction. And I'm doing great. Friday is awesome. So you are doing a good job. Thank you. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Nimisha. So let me ask the first question that I ask every guest on my show. What, according to you, Nimisha, is employee engagement?
Oh, great. So employee engagement, I would say, is like a small, which I always is my favorite quote. Always I say that it is like a small bird which says employee engagement. It's like a wind, which you cannot see it, but you can feel it. So that is the beauty or the magic of employee engagement. Let me tell you, a great example of my life. So usually on Sundays, my husband and my kid and we go for a car drive, just a ride, because of course with lockdown and these restrictions around, so we don't want it to step out
Correct.
with a. So what we do is we just take a round in a car, and then that's the main objective of coming back. Okay, so when we start with a car drive, and my kid, who's very curious about of getting into our destination, so he keeps on asking us, are we there yet? Are we there? And my husband would say like, no, not yet. Not yet. Okay. Because we are not going for a destination, rather we are just going for a ride and then come back. But he gets bored of it and he always asks, are we there yet, are we there yet? So that is a kind of employee engagement, I would say, because we are not going for a destination. So employee engagement also, you don't have any destination, it is a journey. Okay,
Right.
for example, you have these products, any quality initiatives like TQM,
Mm, mm,
right? So whenever you develop any product, right, what you do is you don't stop there. You go for the
mm,
next level, right?
mm.
What is a quality mechanism? What is the next level?
Yeah.
That
Right.
is what I would say as an employee engagement also, that it is a journey and there is
Right.
no a standard template to say,
Right.
okay, these are the things which you can define it as an employee engagement. It depends.
Right.
It varies from the industry to industry, companies to companies, and
Yes.
where the organization is at now. Because if you say there are various companies and now GPTW, Great Place to Work certified,
Mm.
and when
Yes.
you have those certification, it definitely means you are good at culture, you are good at
Right.
engagement.
Mm.
But does that mean all the companies are equal? No. Somebody would be good at some culture, somebody would be good at onboarding, somebody would be good at
Mm.
some other perspective,
Right.
so it varies. So I would call employee engagement is a process, is a journey, and it is not a destination.
Absolutely. Well said. I think I completely concur with you. Employee engagement is a journey and it's not a destination. And the journey can be done on bike, on car, on walk, on cycle, flight, train, just about anything. It depends on each person's taste on which one they prefer and which one they enjoy the most. Awesome. Love that answer. So tell us a little bit about this book. So guys, it's called My Journey to Love and Peace by Nimisha Chatterjee. I would it's an easy light read, and I would recommend you guys to go to Amazon and get yourself a copy of it. And by the way, three of the most interesting questions will get an autographed copy of this book today. So all of you who are watching, keep your pen and paper ready, because this is going to be a great conversation. And in some more time, I'm going to ask you to put in your questions there, and the three most interesting questions are going to get this book. So Nimisha, tell us about this book. Why did you write it, and tell us a little bit about the background of the book.
Okay. So, my book, of course, it talks about the self love and also onto the world of human resources. Because, of course, I'm passionate about human resources, my field.
Mm,
And
mm,
when I talk about self love, because I believe, that loving ourselves is not just, it's more than the state of mind. Rather, it is a series of action and the habits that we should get embedded into our everyday lives. So I reinvented myself, from being shy and introvert to be able to what I'm able to deeply connect with others. And so this book, of course, it teaches about it is never ever too late to transform our minds from feeling I'm not enough to I am enough.
mm.
So I'm sure it is definitely going to be an inspiring read to know how you can enjoy the moments along with your journey. I would be using the word journey more often because that's something I'm very much passionate about. And through this book, I also reveal much needed information about the company's success as well as your own well-being, into from the world of HR. So, in simple terms, if you have to say, the book is all about trust yourself and be yourself.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. I strongly recommend anybody to get this book. Let's get going and let's talk. I can see through your LinkedIn posts and through while speaking to you as a person, you're extremely passionate and you're extremely passionate about HR in specific. So I want to ask you, did you always like HR and that's why you chose it, or you became HR and then you fell in love with it? Was it love marriage or arranged marriage with HR?
Okay. So I would say that's a good question. So, as I mentioned, my journey, when I said, of course, it was being a shy and introvert. On the other side, I was always being passionate about people because one thing I'm always grateful for the inclusiveness, I would wanted to look my life, from the angle of inclusiveness, because
Mhm.
the way I've been brought up, the values, all those things from my family is what I'm very grateful for. And I've been brought up in various different cultures, where, from North, Jammu, Punjab, and that's how
Mhm.
I've been brought up. So that is the first thing where I fell in love with different people, culture, behavior. Okay. And from there, I started having the passion to understand the behavior of the people, the psychology of the people. But then, yes, I mentioned in the book that I was a little more towards myself. But when you have committed towards something in your mind which you are eager to do it, you want it in some way, and somewhere I had a destiny written, I would say, or it is a passion which makes you study in that line, and you are inclined towards what the universe, the law of attraction, what you want, what you think, you get attracted to that. So
Mhm.
somehow it got me into the MBA in HR full time. I studied, and it became more, I became more passionate about studying these, especially the specialization of organizational behavior was
Mhm.
some of the subject which I was really passionate about in HR studies as well. And that's how I landed in HR corporate world. And yes, it's definitely a love marriage with HR.
Awesome. Awesome. Loved it. I want to ask you, you worked in so many different sectors, right? You worked in logistics, you worked in retail, healthcare, freight forwarding, IT, BPO, all kinds of things, right? How is employee engagement different in these different sectors?
Okay, yeah, that's great. So, what I mentioned in the earlier itself, the organization differs because the industry, the way we operate is
Mm.
different. But end of the day, it is the employee or the human being which is common. Now, as a human being, yes, definitely, it's a people whom we are surrounded with, whether it is in terms of products or services. It's a human being, so the employees who is behind, who is promoting or selling those services.
Mm.
uh, on the other level, probably what motivates me, like, might not motivate you. For me, if flexibility is one thing which I would get motivated, for
Mm.
you, Shrikant, it would be something else. You might look for, you wanted a company where you could have mentors or the coaches,
Mm.
because
Right.
you wanted to grow your career. So it depends from companies to companies. So similarly, in the organization also where I have worked, when it was a healthcare BPO, of course it was at the initial stage 10 years back, decades, expectations were different.
Mm.
Employee engagement, the way the world is evolving, right? So those days, employee engagement, it was more in terms of satisfaction or the utility.
Mm.
What can we make to make their work better?
Mm.
And from a time where, as I moved on to a different experience, like for retail, it's a different scenario. So there, you are the employees are not behind the system. They are on the floor.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
there, the engagement factor is more about the value,
Mm.
how much pride you feel towards your work. The sense of belongingness does matter. And
Right.
from the time where I was working in the IT industry, which was a recent stint, and of course
Mhm.
we have come over more than a decade, the expectations have changed. So it is more towards the experience. What
Mm.
experience are you bringing? How are you making me feel valued? How am
Mm.
I adding value to the company? So this is how things have changed, not only from the
Right.
industry perspective, but also from the the decades or the era which has changed.
Right, right, right. Your smile tells me you have something more interesting to tell me about how things have changed in the last 5 to 10 years. Let's talk about that. But before that, I want to thank everybody who's live here and who's saying hi, hello, hi, Arun, hi, Maria, Nagarshri, Sindur, Bhavya. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for joining. I want to remind you guys that you're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook at the same time. And now would be a good time. You have any questions? Keep your pen and paper ready. You have any questions? Type them out in a few more minutes. I'm going to open those questions up. and ask Nimisha to answer them. So tell me, what has changed? You talked about change that has happened in employee engagement over the last few years or decades. So let's say the early 2000, 2010 when you started off, 2009, 2010 when you started off your career to now, what has changed in the expectation that employees have out of their job, and what has changed in the employee engagement and employee experience initiatives taken by the organizations themselves?
Okay. Yes, of course, I could, relate it with my experience that which I was narrating with you just now. Um, to put it in just a simple way, I would say that I would categorize them into three categories. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
one is the experience lovers. The second would
Mm.
be the wellness, and third one would be free spirits. Okay,
Right. Okay.
experience lovers is the one who had the desire. I mean, to be in the office. For them,
Right.
it is like office is a place. That
Right.
we go to the office, and then apart from that, whatever outside the office is where you have flexibility.
Mm.
But office
Mm.
is a place, so that we'll call it
Right.
as a traditional office or experience lovers. Then
Mm.
came your wellness addicts, so where you were more looking towards the work-life balance and
Mm.
of course the health as the priority. So
Right.
probably we would say that that is the current scenario which we are into, right? And future probably with the current scenarios, remote working or hybrid or working from anywhere model, I would say it is going to be a total flexibility.
Mm.
Right. So in these three angles, how the trends have changed is where the employee engagement have also changed. So, as you mentioned, okay, in the earlier when I started or before that, I would say that we have always studied about employee engagement is equivalent to employee satisfaction. So as an HR, the job was like, okay, you have to satisfy the employee. So that means the angle was from what do employees need to work. So what are the things, what are the utilities we need so that employees can work. Then we changed to an era where the technology have come in, 90s, 2000, somewhere. That's where the technology boom had come. And there
Mm.
it changed to what do employees need to make the work better. So
Right.
what do employees need to work better and faster? So we are
Mm.
looking more in terms of productivity,
Mm.
right? And then it came around, I think the recent experience is where it came like how can we make the employees happy. Okay, so understand,
Delighted.
what you need. Then we had how we can make it better. And now
Mm.
since we have got everything better, now it is like what we need to make them happy.
Right.
Okay. And then now it is the era of employee experience where we say that
Mm.
how can we create an organization where employee wants to show up
Mm.
versus need to show up.
Mm.
So we don't want
Right.
employees that is a need. So they should be willing. The morning when they wake up, they should be wanting to come to the organization. So that's how the things have changed in the past decades or the era, I would say.
Right, right, right. I got that. I think that's understandable. I mean, who doesn't want employees who are excited about coming to office every day morning, right? Or working from home. So you talked about the work from home, work from anywhere kind of situation. Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you think? Is it a boon or is it a bane that you're now most of the people are working from home? And what are the new challenges that it brings from an employee point of view as well as from an employer point of view?
Okay. So, of course, initially, when work from home was a perk, which a certain industry has given it, and you were looking for that. So, when you get something you are really desiring for, you feel everything good about it. But
Right.
when it becomes a natural, you are being feeded every day. For example, if you need a sweet, and then I take it from example of my kid. If I give him daily chocolates, and then after that he's no more. Even the chocolates are lying, he doesn't want it. He doesn't
Right.
need it. So I think to an extent, work from home has become, in such a style that yes, we are looking forward to come back to the office. And I remember, which you said at the beginning, that coffee gup shop, patting on the colleagues
Yeah.
and thinking about what's happening in the cafeteria, or going for a drink at a happy hours. So all those things are what we miss, because as a human being we are a social, so we are connected with the employees. There is no doubt, yes, work from home has given a certain advantages, benefit to a segment, because you are able to take care of your kids, you take care of your family, being with them in an associated. But a whole perspective is definitely from the economy perspective or from the organization and for the employee. The studies have stated now, although it is the mental level, the stress,
Mm. Yeah.
isolation, that is what which is affecting. And
Mm.
secondly, there are other segment of people who are, probably the housekeeping services, the vendors, whose livelihood is based on, when the organization are into the office. So of
Mm.
course, that's where the hybrid model is coming up, or
Right.
segment of people, bringing back to the office is coming up,
Right.
because though technology is playing an important role in connecting us, but
Mm.
then it is too much of screen. We are working for longer hours,
Yeah.
and I think if, like, we are just talking to the screen, and we don't have, sometimes in the office where if you are too much into the screen, your buddy will call you, chalo, let's have a chai break, let's go for a lunch, or so connecting with those things is what it is missing. And of course we would be looking forward. And on the other aspect, when we are talking about employee engagement,
Mm.
that itself becomes a challenge, because
Right.
the most important thing is communication. Okay.
Mm.
So now we are only committed towards, or we are only aligned with the technology. So either, now, as you mentioned, now earlier we could just go up, but now we have
Mm.
to book a calendar, schedule a
Yeah.
calendar, or check
Yes.
on Yammer, Slack, whatever devices we have, and then through that only you are able to connect. So that
Correct.
definitely makes you have, that is one thing. Secondly, you are having lack of motivation, because
Mm.
isolation, you're not able to let out your feelings to your
Mm.
buddy or your colleagues, even to your boss for that matter, because you don't
Correct.
know. And
Mm.
face to face conversation always helps, and especially for as an HR or for the leaders as well, from the employer perspective also. If I have to console or mentor or do talk to an employee, if there is any dispute or argument between the manager and
Mm.
employee, it becomes quite easier when you have face to face, because you are able to see the emotions and understand it.
Correct.
You can take them for some time, because sometimes it's a space. You are here, that's why you feel more agitated, but sometimes you just go into the fresh air and your mood changes.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
those are the things, which are the challenges from the HR organization, from the employee perspective.
Awesome. Fantastic. So we have some great questions coming in. Let them. So audience, let them keep coming in a couple of more minutes. I'm going to ask those questions to Nimisha. In the meanwhile, we spoke a little bit about technology, and you seem to be all guns for coming back to office, or at least a hybrid model. Work from home is not something I hear you're interested in. Tell us about the role that technology can play in improving employee engagement. What kind of technologies have you seen coming in, and which, according to you, are some of the most significant technologies that can help improve employee experience as well as employee engagement?
Okay. When we talk about, okay, technology, there was a boom around 90 to 91, 2000 is the time where the technology boom had come. And of course we had seen that with the while the need of focuses on employee experience, definitely the technology plays an important role, because you are able to, with that productive tools, you are able to lower the attrition rates, or boost the customer satisfaction. uh, and of course, catching up with colleagues and collaborating with the third party vendors, with all those things, yes, technology has really helped us. To every interaction, I would say, has made the digital tools have made it easier. I would say, the cloud technology, so that is something which we are listening, hearing the terms now. So this is not something new, and I believe it was had come by compact computers or something in the earlier, but until 2008 or 2006 or 7, I'm not sure. That was a launch of AWS, Amazon Web Services, and and that's where the cloud computing has taken shape, and of course it is still growing. So
Right.
this cloud technology has definitely seen a great growth in terms of,
Mm.
I would say, in the organization, because when we see the productive tools, we have Office 365, and
Yeah.
then you have your intranet where you can take place of everything. The collaboration platform, I've used Asana as a collaborative platform,
Mm.
so that has really there. And we have obviously the video conferencing tool like Zoom. So this is
Mm.
how the technology has helped. Apart from that, it has also helped in the HR, what do you say, that HR, like various stages in terms
Mm.
of recruitment. We are able to come up with, able to allow the tools, because earlier it was only the web, but now most of the candidates, or with the new Gen Z which is coming into the market, or the millennials, they prefer having a mobile view. So how, as an organization, you are able to capture the attention of your recruitment positions in a mobile view.
Right.
Okay, so onboarding, definitely,
Mm.
what kind of, how you are most engaging, the company can do for a new hire. So you have the tool with I've seen certain companies where you have a games kind sort of thing, where you have a QR code you have to scan, and then you will
Mm.
be, advised to, suggested to go to the next step, what you have to do
Mm.
to understand the process, values. So onboarding has been designed in such a way. That's how the
Right.
technology has been. Development, yes, you are able to get their digital platform learning. You are able
Mm.
to have a personalized training. You don't have to undergo one. You can choose what
Mm.
you wanted.
Right.
Retention, of course, because now we have understood it is not a culture of top down, but it is
Mm.
a collaborative culture. So everywhere, how we are able to voice out your opinion
Right.
through the surveys, pulse surveys,
Mm.
and other surveys where everybody is
Correct.
able to review. And then, of course, the most important thing is exit. So
Mm.
the most important engagement, I would say, is towards the exit level, where you get the most honest feedback, and they
Mm.
become your alumni of your future. So
Mm.
of course, I would say, to conclude, digital or the technology is good, use it, but don't lose human touch, because
Right.
it's the human connection that gives us a sense of belonging at work, and
Right.
ability to deliver a greater customer service.
Right. Bang on. So technology can be used to amplify or accentuate what you're already doing, but without what you're doing, which is the human connect, technology cannot really do much. Awesome stuff. So let's talk about some of the questions that we've got here. We've got I like some of the questions here. Um, okay, Praveen is asking, how was your journey while writing this book? Tell us a little bit about what went into writing this book.
Okay, that's really good question. So Praveen, the basic thing what I had was, of course, it is written from the soul. I never intend to write a book ever in my dreams, but it all just happened because I was in a state of reinventing myself, which I mentioned earlier. So from I was having a lot of self affirmations to myself.
Mm.
I had developed certain habits and actions. So those are the things when I was doing it. I had already started, in fact, the process of journaling, daily journaling. So I was anyway start have doing my gratitude journaling every day.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it was kind of repository I already had, and
Okay.
of course, I used to share my insights. You would find mostly in LinkedIn and also in various platforms. So all these things had shaped me, and yes, some of them had said that, of course, very close ones, that why don't you write a book? And I was like, book? Me? Then I was like, okay, yeah, why not? So
Right.
yes, it all happened, and yeah, it came up a beautiful gift which I presented to myself in 2021.
Awesome. So Sandhya has a question related to that. She's asking, what was the best review or feedback that you got for the book till date?
Okay, so the best, I mean, all the reviews I would say are very great and very personal to me. I wouldn't say that this is the best or something, because being an author, you know that, you know, when anyone who reads your book and who is able to share, who is reading share, so every feedback matters to me. So,
Right.
and I would say there is no particular favorite, all are good and very close to my heart.
Okay. All right. So Maria has a very interesting question. She asks on YouTube, is talent considered based on academic results or the experience of an individual by an HR? How do you choose, on what basis do you hire people? Is it academic results or the experience or something else?
Okay, great. So, of course, I wouldn't say that it is only academic or it is only based on experience, but it is a mix of both. So, we wouldn't want anyone who is very 90% or 20%, 100%, 70%, or the college. It depends upon the role, you know.
Mm,
So, depends upon the organization as well as the role. So if you are, we are looking for analytics role, right?
mm,
So you want someone who is more good at analytics. And when you talk about analytics, again, the subjects is what we try to consider if it is being
mm,
a fresher. If it
mm,
is an experienced, again, we wouldn't go much into the education. But yes, education plays in experienced candidates when you are looking forward for the managerial role. For
right.
example, you are a team lead and we were looking for the manager or the senior manager role. Definitely, we would look for the education. That is your MBA, whether you have done the MBA, whether it is a full time course, you know. So those are the aspects we would look for. But for
Mm,
other roles, yes, of course, experience matters on how much you have done in your previous organization. Or whether in case of fresher, also there are cases where we have rejected the candidates who have got 70%. You won't believe it, top tier institutes where I've gone. And then we have taken a candidate for 50% because the candidate had the skills, you know, whether in college you have various fest or you have various projects, so how much you are able to communicate about what you are doing and how much what you have done in your work is what matters.
mm,
So it is not always the academic, it depends upon the role and the organization.
right.
I hope
Perfect.
that
I have a
answers.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. Well said. So I have another question here from Ganesh, who's asking from Facebook, who says, while mentoring, how do you decide on the best solution to give to the employee or the junior HR?
I didn't get that question, sorry. Well
So
mentioned.
when you're while mentoring, how do you decide on the best solution to give to the employee or the HR or your junior or somebody like that?
Junior HR, okay. So, Ganesh, first of all, there's a difference, of course, in coaching or mentoring. So, if you are typically asking about mentoring, is the person
Mm,
who has experience or domain, in that particular domain. So, you reach out to a mentor for a particular solution
mm,
because they are the expert in that particular field. So, when we get into any mentoring, the first aspect is you decide with a mentor on why have you come, okay, the agenda, the objective, what you wanted to learn, what you wanted to resolve, what you wanted to solve. So I have been mentoring, so there are certain people who have approached me where they wanted to understand the nuances of HR, from the various industry perspective. There are mentors who wanted to understand the concept specifically and how
mm.
they can apply in their current organization.
Right.
So it depends on what is the requirement, what do you need from your
Mm.
mentor, and that's how you list down the steps and the action plans. I hope that
Right.
answers, Ganesh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you very aptly said. Mentoring would be it would be probably more technical and would be more related to, how I can use a particular skill in this particular situation, reaching out to somebody and asking for a specific solution. And coaching would probably be an opportunity to open yourself up and find the answers within.
Exactly.
right? All right. So we have some quite a few interesting questions, but before we get back to the questions, let me ask something else. I want to ask you, what are some of the most common mistakes that you come across that organizations make that makes the employees disgruntled or engaged or really angry?
Okay, from the organization perspective, right?
Yeah.
So, first of all, it all comes from the knowing the employee engagement. The term
Mm.
itself says that, of course, it is from the employee. So
Yeah.
first is, the answers are from the employees itself. So
Mm.
first we need to understand. So when we fail to understand the employee perspective, and as an organization or as a leaders, when we come up with a solution, okay, employee engagement, let's do this, let's try this approach, or let's take a survey, let's take apply this careers, or let's have a wellness session, let's focus on this. So that is where the mistakes happen. So rather,
Mm.
I would say that, when we get to know the answers from the employees itself, that is,
Uh,
uh, from the employees we can ask questions like, who manages my most engaged employees? When we have
mm.
those questions in our mind, what are their management style like? What who are the leaders who are managing them, and what makes people work hard for those managers,
Mm.
and what kind of relationship employee and a manager has, that
Mm.
encourages engagement. So when we have these questions from the employees, you will get the survey, right, about the managers or the relationship. And then when you understand which are the good managers or the practices of which team, the best thing is duplicate the good habits of the best managers to promote for the higher engagement.
Right.
So, a manager, of course, one thing on the other aspect is a manager doesn't start by being a leader from today
Mm.
itself or where they are
Mm.
today. There are also certain amount of emotional intelligence which they learn through their experiences, right, over the years. So we need to, as an organization or as a leaders, as an HR, we need to understand, yes, we have to know their mistakes, that there will be mistakes, but
Mm.
then you can learn from them.
Right.
So engagement, in simple terms, it's the meaningfulness and safety and availability. That is how meaningful the work is done, that it
Mm.
is made for the employee. Is the workplace safe from criticism, biasness,
Mm.
right? And is the employee uh, available physically and mentally,
Mm.
themselves in the workplace? So when you have these kind of things taken care of, is where we can avoid employee engagement mistakes. Because in general, why I'm trying to focus on the manager, which I started, because if you take any survey or the Gallup survey, it says that managers account for 70%
Mm.
in the employee engagement. So they are the
Right.
first interaction, right? So the sooner we are able to address this concern,
Right.
we are going to have a better employee engagement at work.
Right, right. Awesome. So on a group of few questions that I've got here, there is Nagashri who's saying, what are the challenges that you came across in a work experience so far, and how do you manage to cope up with them? And there is Ivan who's asking about how to balance work life for a new mom, so somebody who's just given birth to a child recently. And I saw a couple of more questions which talk about I think Sindur who's asking how do you manage workplace and at home, right? How do you and specifically from the point of view of a woman, right? How do you balance work and home? That's a question. And if you can talk about anything specific you might have about new mothers, right? That'd be
Hmm.
awesome.
Okay. So now the question you are talking about is work-life balance from the
Yes.
new mother, or especially from the woman point of
Yes.
step, right? Okay. So of course, it is challenging. I wouldn't say that it is not. It is very easy sale. It is challenging, but then it all depends on how you are able to set boundaries for yourself.
Mm.
Okay. So as a woman or as an individual, we have to take care of ourselves. So the accountability lies on myself.
Right.
So when I can create a boundary that, okay, after 9 o'clock, I will not, engage in my work. Because if I send out an email, of course, I would have to expect a reply from other person. So the sooner you create an expectation from the day one of your, organization, is where you are able to set a boundary and have a work life balance. So
Mm,
setting up boundary is first thing. Second is being transparent, because once people understand that, okay, Nimisha doesn't respond after 9 o'clock, it is not. But that
mm,
doesn't mean, yes, there are critical emergencies, there are critical cases, of course, in terms of somebody's health.
mm,
I wouldn't say there is nothing important than health at this point of time.
mm.
So if
Correct.
there is something important in terms of your health, of course, they can give a buzz, because these days organization numbers are being shared. Of course, you have
Yes.
everyone's contact details, you are reachable over phone. And if there is something, you are reachable over the phone and you get onto the work. But
Mm.
otherwise, it's setting a boundary and being transparent is what helps in, maintaining the work-life balance.
Right.
And
Right.
of course,
And tips for new mothers.
yeah, and third thing, definitely the most important thing is taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Your own self-care practices, whether it is journaling, whether it is meditation,
Mm.
whether it is workouts, whatever you wanted, which satisfy your hobby. So that is
Right.
the time where you are connected with yourself and you will have a better emotional quotient.
Right. Right. Perfect. Awesome. We have a very interesting question from Ruby on Facebook. She's asking, how has the year 2020 transformed the way you view HR strategy?
Okay,
Basically, the
how?
pandemic, how's it changed the approach to HR strategy? The
Okay.
remote working and the pandemic and everything.
Got it. So, Ruby, definitely, earlier you would have always seen HR when we say it is a people connect. So, we are the front face of the organization, that we are the one who's connect, and we have to be visible in the organization. That
Right.
was one of the thing which is there, that in the people's mind, that yes, all other functions can do work from home, IT or sales, of course, and marketing, but HR, it is people, so you have to be present on the people. But with
Right.
this pandemic, of course, HR was the first one who had stepped in, and that's when the world or everyone has come across to know that how HR has transformed. It has taken the business seats to ensure that transition happens to safely and smoothly, ensuring that communication happens with the employees, ensuring how you have to remote, connecting with the various stakeholders, with the facilities, with the IT. Because it doesn't mean that onboarding has stopped. Ask Shrikant, he leads Offi needs the onboarding kids or other kids has still being delivered. There are other various awards, or there are various merchandise branding which is still going on. The development, the personal development or the learning and development is still going on. So how are these things? Because it is being with the technology. So HR, who was earlier being away from the technology, has now
Mm.
partnered with the technology. And the future HRs, I would say that we would see definitely many of the BTech guys, also BTech people or technology, who are been into the software, and they have changed their domain to come into the HR. So it is not that HR and technology are two different. The more technology savvy you become, it is good. And being a virtual itself, HR itself, you are able to manage a workforce and have the same level of engagement, commitment. And now, since everything is settled, now the next challenge obviously is looking back to work, bringing of people back to work. That's again a new challenge which has come, because certain
Right.
employees, of course, they are in that set mindset that we don't want it to work from office, we want it to be work from home. So the bringing that hybrid model, bringing them back to the workplace is the way. It has been, of course, a different experience altogether, but that's how the HR is. It's never easy cakewalk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If there's one thing that has been happening is change in the last 1.5 year. It's been change things, everything has been changing very, very rapidly, and it's been a challenge for everyone. How do you adapt to that change as quickly as possible? That has been awesome. So I have one last question to ask you. You spoke about onboarding. Can we talk a little bit about onboarding? Onboarding, how was it different pre-pandemic when people would come to the organization versus the onboarding that's happening right now remotely? What is the difference? What are the new challenges and what are the new opportunities that are there?
Okay, great. So, onboarding, yes, I would say that to an extent in my previous organization, I have tasted the flair of onboarding virtually because it was a global organization. So, you know,
Okay.
everyone has been sitting at different corners of the world, and especially with the sales, we don't have the office in
Mm,
all locations. Primarily, we had in US and UK, but other countries, we had to onboard them, through virtually.
mm,
So, of course, onboarding, as I say, that human touch is very important. So, there
mm,
is nothing best when onboarding them in person, where you
mm,
connect with them, you understand them. But there's no harm in connecting virtually also. One thing, which has, I would say that as a advantage or the benefit which has given virtually is you are able to recruit diverse talent. You don't have to restrict, because it is virtually, you can recruit it from anywhere in the world.
yeah,
Like, you
right,
just wanted the talent skills and you have a best technology setup, the basic minimum, and then you are ready to. So that has definitely, I would always think from the diversity and inclusive perspective. So that is where you are able to be more diverse and inclusive in your approach in terms of onboarding or recruiting.
right,
The second thing is, of course, with the technology, it has helped you because earlier you need to see whether the person is in the office. They have to be, for any emergency, the leaders, you have to be in the office. You have to ensure the stocks are kept, in the office, everything. But now, yes, with the technology, it is made easier. You can, have it on the digital tools these days. You have digital points and the forms, whatever you talk about in HR or in the organization, everything is digitalized. We
right.
have, the softwares. We have, of course, the digital form. You have e-signatures. You have everything on the digital platform. So that is the advantage, definitely. The challenge, of course, it is all goes with starting with a calendar. Your day starts and it is all through the
Correct.
calendar in front of your screen, where you are just sitting at one place and then meeting all different people through the in front of your computer screen. So I feel that human touch is missing.
Right.
Collaboration, yes, though you have technology like asanas, the project tools, that would help to an extent, yes, but then there's nothing in person. So of course it depends on the organization and the role what you are into. You take it as a, pro and cons.
Awesome. Awesome. Very well said. So thank you so much, Nimisha. We've come to the absolute end of the show, and as always, we'd like to pick three winners and give out your signed copy of this book. Would you like to pick up the winners, or shall I do that, Nimisha?
I would leave it to you because I'm still going through the questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I leave the honor to you.
Sure, sure. Awesome. This time, all the three winners are women, and I think some great questions. The last one, which was from Ruby, she asked about the new HR strategies because of the kind of current change which has happened. And Maria asked a fantastic question about, whether you hire on the basis of experience or the
Right.
qualification of that person. And Nagashri, who asked about, work-life balance, something along those lines. I think these are my three picks for today. That's Nagashri, Maria, and Ruby. Thank you so much. And somebody, Ruby, Nagashri, and Maria, somebody from our team will get in touch with you and tell you how you can collect your gift. So thank you so much, Nimisha. I know there were a ton of other things that you could have been doing on a Friday evening. You chose to be with us today. And it's been amazing, amazing speaking to you. Great points that we've all made note of. Thanks once again for being on the show. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you, Shrikant, and thank you for the lovely questions for all the audience. And congratulations to the winner. And I loved answering all the questions. Apart from that, also, if you have any questions and if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's where you will find me more active on it. So you can message me in LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to answer the queries over there or questions, because of course we have a time limit here. And till
Awesome.
then, enjoy your Friday evening, and thank you, Shrikant. And it was an amazing questions.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.